Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you guys are doing good. We've got some Seahawks updates, mostly injury stuff and roster news right now, but some interesting notes. Thought I'd go ahead and sum it all up here and talk about what it might mean. So here's the headline. Here's the big one. The big one. Pete Carroll said DK Metcalf is feeling a little better today. He was in the morning walkthrough but won't practice this afternoon. Sounds like he won't do much, if anything, in tomorrow's practice either. Still no word on his status for Sunday's game versus the Giants. So, I will say this. The reports we have gotten about this knee injury for Metcalf are very vague, it seems to me. Like, the things we're hearing about the Metcalf injury, it feels like nobody really knows exactly what's going on there. So I don't want to rule anything out, but I seriously doubt we're going to get Metcalf against the Giants. And we probably shouldn't, honestly, given the fact that this is an injury to an area that can be, devastating if it actually tears. I think J.C. Jackson got an injury in the same place. It just was more severe, and now he might not be ready until 2024. You don't want to mess around. So while I appreciate the fact that Metcalf expressed a desire to try to play this upcoming game, and while I'm open to the possibility because we've been given so little concrete information, like I see all these people talking about the injury saying, 2 to 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. He'll be back in 2 to 3 weeks, and that's fine. At the same time, when I look at what the team is saying, it just seems they're not committing to anything. So I guess it's possible. I just doubt it. So I'm ready to not have Metcalf for a couple weeks, which is obviously unfortunate, but he's got to do what he needs to do so when he gets back, it's safe and he can be very productive. So if you were maybe sitting around hoping that Metcalf would play against the Giants, I guess you can still hope. They're not committing to anything quite yet. We also had other updates from practice today. These are a little more positive. Although the Metcalf news is not particularly terrible either. These guys actually participated in practice. We got Gabe Jackson, Phil Haynes, and Sidney Jones. So it seems like most, if not all of these guys are going to be back on Sunday. Nick Bellore, we're not entirely clear on yet because he also had a concussion in that game. But it seems to me that if Gabe Jackson, Phil Haynes, and Sidney Jones practice on Wednesday, they're likely going to be able to play on Sunday. So that's obviously going to help with cornerback depth and offensive line depth. Nick Bellore is a key special teamer. We hope he can play. But this is all obviously pretty good news. Now, granted, Sidney Jones might be more of a trade piece at this point than an actual player. Like, if Sidney Jones is healthy for Sunday, it wouldn't shock me if he's inactive or he doesn't play. Because what we have right now at cornerback is going fairly well. So that may not be huge consequence outside of maybe being able to trade him. But getting Phil Haynes back is big because he played well against the Chargers before he got hurt. And we need Gabe back because if he's going to be the backup to Haynes from now on, then that takes some of the pressure off of Krivoshein, who, I've said it before, I'll say it again, Krivoshein is a right tackle. He should not be playing guard. He can do some things well at guard. If you have to put him out there, you can. But he's going to get roasted in pass protection if you put him at guard. He just is. So he should be our backup right tackle. I don't like putting him out there at guard against starting NFL caliber players. And we saw that against the Chargers when he had to go in there at the end of the game. So going forward, Haynes should start, Gabe should back him up, and Krivoshein should be backing up Lucas over on the right side. So, excuse me. Ugh. Good news here. We're getting some players back. Injury report should be a little more clean when we get to the game on Sunday. That's not it, though. We also have some roster news. LJ Collier beats the buzzer. Today was his last day to get activated off the IR. He is now on the 53-man roster, so LJ Collier lives for at least one more day. Don't know if we're going to see him play. Honestly, you look at our defensive line right now, things are going okay. We got a pretty good rotation going on up there with the 6 guys. I really don't want to see LJ take snaps away from a guy like Miles Adams, who is starting to play well. So, honestly, LJ may end up being healthy scratch for a few games here at the least. He might not get a chance to play until somebody goes down in front of him. Like, Shelby Harris has been on and off the field so far this year. If he gets hurt again, maybe you see LJ then. But as of right now, I don't see a big place for him. There is a role in this defense that he can play, but obviously he won't be able to play it that well because he's LJ Collier. We have an open roster spot still, so for those of you who are wondering if maybe we need to add a player, there is an open spot. You won't need to swap out a player necessarily. However, that open spot might be taken by a returning player. We have Trey Brown and Travis Homer. They have both returned to practice, and they're going to have 3 weeks now to return to the 53 or go on season-ending injured reserve. Look for both of them to make their way to the active roster fairly soon. Travis Homer, his place in the offense is obvious. He's a great third down back, great pass catcher, great blocker, and we need him right now because we only have 2 real running backs on the roster right now with Walker and DJ. So Homer comes back. He probably takes a little bit of the workload off Walker and probably reduces DJ to more of a pure backup role where he may only see the field 6-7 times a game. So Homer's role is clear. Trey Brown, I don't know what happens to Trey Brown right now because we're playing pretty good in our secondary at the moment, right? Our 3 corners that play are all doing fairly well. I don't know if you want to take away snaps from Michael Jackson with the way he's going. Trey Brown played well last year. I don't want that to get lost here. Trey Brown was good last year, but if there's no need to rush it and you've got good chemistry going with what you currently have on the field, maybe you don't want to touch it right now. Obviously, the competition is good, and getting Trey Brown back is going to make it easier to justify trading a guy like Sidney Jones or Artie Burns, but I don't know where he fits in if the people in front of him stay healthy. So we'll have to see how that shakes out, but it's good to have him back because he played well last year, and there may come a point where we need him. A couple other little notes here. We added a couple of players to our practice squad to get back up to 17. Kevin Cassis is back. Some people are going to be excited about that. And linebacker Alexander Johnson. And this guy's kind of interesting because Alexander Johnson is actually a veteran. He played a bunch of games with Denver at inside linebacker with in that Vic Fangio defense. So with what we're trying to do on defense this year, a guy like Alexander Johnson, you could easily look at him and go, hey, he can be just as good and probably better than Cody Barton. So if Alexander Johnson can show you something on the practice squad in the coming week or two, and Cody Barton continues to do what he's doing, I think you might see Alexander Johnson get a shot. I think he has better odds on being able to fill that hole than anybody else we have on the team. You look at our inside linebacker spot right now, it's just a little thin. Alexander Johnson could be the guy. So, yeah, that's basically the roster news right now. We've got 1 open spot left. Again, one of the injured guys is probably going to take it, and then we're going to have to release somebody to make room for the other one whenever he's ready. I'm hoping Homer's ready this week, personally, because we need him. But mostly good news. So let me know what you guys think down below. I will see you guys later tonight on stream. Go Hawks, and yep, we're getting some guys back.